So Grafdigger's Cage again. So how exciting is that Grafdigger's Cage moving in?
That's pretty awesome.
So,
and it makes you think twice about it. It actually makes you think that maybe Living End's good. If people start playing the
exactly what I was thinking.
Cage as their sideboard
you
card,
say, like, okay, I'm gonna beat Dredge, I'm gonna beat Malira, I'm gonna beat this, I'm gonna beat that, and that's gonna be like, you don't want to slot two separate things to your graveyard strategy.
Yeah, like, I mean, if you're already playing Grafdigger's Cage, like, you would need a dedicated anti-Living End card to beat Living End. And you really can't play, like, a dedicated card just for Living End.
Right. I mean, they can remand it.
That's true, and remanding a Living End is basically hard countering a Living End. It's a 2-mana dismiss. Pretty nice.
There you get a look at Andrew.
Got to talk to Andrew yesterday.
Yeah, so Andrew's 10-0. No buys. James Zorn is
9-0-1.
No, yeah, 9-0-1.
3 buys, I think.
Okay. See his meatball hat. You wore that in Atlanta last time.
The signature J-Way hat. J-Way, even before Atlanta, had quite a bit of press because of the 66-card deck. A lot of people were joking around and putting the deck list on Facebook when they saw it on the Magic Online, like, the decks that have 4-0 dailies, because they saw somebody 4-0 daily with a 66-card deck, and everybody was like, look, somebody 4-0 daily with a 66-card deck and extended. And then the next daily, he did it again.
Right.
And the next daily, he did it again. So you just 12-0'd over the course of 3 dailies with a 66-card deck. And, the first time it happened,
and people got
laughing.
So indignant.
The second time it happened, people were pretty, people were pretty indignant. The third time it happened, people were still very indignant.
Yeah.
People did not trust his reasoning.
Still need 3 players for a mini-master. Draft or mini-master.
Ooh, Halimar depths for J-Way.
Yeah, not a card we've seen. So we have a Grand Prix Kobe winner. While he resolves his Halimar depths. So it's Masahiro Hiraga beating Ken Yukihiro in the finals. Oh, James Owens is playing 60 cards. Playing a Storm deck.
Okay. I mean, seems to be the J-Way playing combo. He likes blue and red cards. I mean, this is not a normal Storm deck, however. He's playing 4 copies of Gifts Ungiven in the Storm deck.
Wow.
And he's XO1.
Okay.
I'll trust it.
What are you, I guess you're just gifting for 4 rituals?
You can gifts for 4 rituals. You can gift.
Oh, but he also has right, he also has the opportunity to gifts for a package.
Flames.
Sure.
So he can gifts for, like, Past in Flames and some rituals and the 1 Grape Shot.
He also has the 1 Noxious Revival. So he's got some sort of package built around that. And it looks like he transforms.
Oh, yeah, and he has a Deceiver Exarch Splinter Twin combo in his sideboard with Kiki Jiki. And he has Empty the Warrens in his main deck, too. James Zornes, ladies and gentlemen. We're at a Serum Visions from James.
Here you go.
James taking his time here, resolving a Scry trigger. Normally when somebody takes this long, it's a bad sign for you, if your opponent's doing it. Yeah, it looks like he's keeping both cards.
So just to give you a quote from James, I did an interview with James at Grand Prix Atlanta last year, where I talked to him about the idea of playing 66 cards, about how you end up playing 66 cards. He said, everybody knows that you play 60 cards, no more, no less. That's the rule. That is optimal performance. That is what I always believed for a long time. Working on, again, this is the Scape Shift Omens deck.
Yeah.
Working on this deck, I wanted to play Scape Shift, and I wanted to play 9 mountains, I wanted to play counter spells, but when you add it up, there just was not enough room. You can't play 9 mountains, 4 Valakut, 4 Prismatic Omens, all your blue mana sources, Misty Rain forests and islands. You have to have at least 3 forests in the deck. You have to have all these cards, and then when you get to all that there is, it's just not enough room. It doesn't work at 60 cards. It will not perform optimal.
And I mean, sometimes you have to, bend the fundamentals of the game.
Sure.
In order to, optimize your deck.
We see the Steel Shapers get first sword. So,
sort of light and shadow, it looks like.
Transformers. There's more that needs to be like.
Now, it warms my heart to see a deck at 10-0 here in Modern playing 2 Necrotic Sliver in the main.
There's a Thalia that gets remanded. Thalia's kind of a...
Thalia's a beating against James.
I believe the official game terminology is kicking the junk.
Yes. Certainly. And I think, James can potentially just win here, right?
Certainly if he has...
He Serum Visions and kept both cards in his turn 4, so I'm assuming.
Sure.
So if he doesn't win here, it's going to be difficult to, have a 3rd and 4th remand for the Thalia the next turn. And if Thalia hits the table, it's going to be pretty difficult for him to win. He's going to have to use a 3-mana Grave Shot.
Yeah. Well, at that point, you're sort of on the Empty the Warrens plan, right? You look to get a smaller storm count and just empty.
Andrew OHLSCHWAGER, when I did an interview with him yesterday, I asked him what matchup he wants to play against the least, and he told me Storm.
Okay.
So this is not.
Well, he has the fewest opportunities to interact with it, right? Like his deck just doesn't interact well. Although game 2,
I mean, he's got a lot of disruption games too. He's got the Thalias, he's got Thoughtseizes, he does a lot.
Yeah.
He has Inquisition of Kozilek's. He even has Surgical Extraction.
Yeah.
It doesn't even look that bad on this board. And that's his worst matchup.
Yeah.
Man, this deck's sweet.
So we got another Serum Visions resolving for James. 1-1. 1-1. I gotta tell you, that doesn't look like a critical mass of cards in his hand to me.
It does not. Looks like he has quite a few lands in there. Which is, perhaps he got unlucky and just drew lands in the top of his library has been manipulated for almost every turn. Yeah, he had already played a land.
There you go. Will Thalia stick? Twice.
And I think it's going to stick. Looking at James' deck list here. Andrew going to 18 here, playing Godless Shrine on tap. Looks like he's going to continue to develop his board with a Dark Confidant.
2 spots in
Nice.
the draft. Looking for 3 players for Mini Master. Signing up Twisted Draft, and we have some interest
And, I
in
mean,
the Two-Headed Giant
I like
draft.
Andrew in this game now.
There are players out there that want to
Very
do
much
the
so.
Two-Headed Giant draft. We are signing that up as well.
Andrew wisely putting the pen cap on the top of his library. That way, in case he goes to draw his card, he can remember, oh wait, I have to use my Dark Confidant trigger. It's an important thing to do. It doesn't matter how good you are. You should still keep that reminder up there. John Finkel may be the best Magic player in the world, but he still writes down every card in his opponent's hand when he casts a discard spell.
No, he just remembers.
He writes them down.
Okay. Not all the time. I've seen him just...
At a PT? You seen him do that? Really?
He just remembers.
I mean, I don't think he needs to write it down, but... Alright. Sword of Light and Shadow coming down for Andrew.
So we see a 5-mana gifts package.
All right, so let's see what James finds with this gifts Ungiven. Card that he knows he's going to get. Another card he knows he's going to get.
Like Diet Mountain Dew.
I should ask him first. I'll be back.
All right, so let's see what Jayway's found. What his package for dealing with Thalia is. He's got an Empty the Warrens, he's got a Seething Song, he's got a Grape Shot, and he's got a Noxious Revival. Just give him Seething Song empty, right?
Sure.
Seems fine. Yeah. I mean, it's going to be very difficult for him to.
Well, you give him the
like,
most expensive cards.
Yeah, exactly. You just and also you give him the cards that don't interact with Thalia. I mean, here James could, cast a Seething Song for 4 mana, and then just empty the Warrens for 4 guys. That doesn't seem like a very strong series of events.
I think he has another ritual in his hand. When we say ritual, we just mean a spell that gives you mana greater than its casting cost.
Yeah. But with the Thalia in play, most modern rituals actually just break even.
They cost 2 to make 3 generally, or
Yeah.
3 to make 5.
3 to make 5, you net 1.
So I think we'll probably see him transform after this game.
Oh, definitely. Ooh, and that's nice. A Jotun Grunt. Oblivion Ring, not so nice.
We're pushing everything, though.
Thalia picks up
Thalia.
Sword of Light and Shadow. Andrew's going to attack for 6 here.
I need 2 players for a booster draft. 2 players for a booster draft.
Gain some life.
4 players for a
Just to return a
standard
creature
Winterbox.
card from his graveyard to his hand.
3
which I don't
players
think
for
he has
a
any.
master. Still signing up Twisted Draft.
No, he's not having it.
Commander and 2
Sort of Feast and Famine would have been nice there.
Yeah.
Also gains 3.
Shows him a
Jotun
Jotun
Grunt.
Grunt.
Jayway down to 6 here. And he's going to have to pull the trigger with something this turn. Wonder how many goblins he can make.
I have him on 6.
Yeah, I think, I believe that James may be able to make as many as 10 goblins this turn. I don't know if that's close to good enough, though. I don't think it is.
It's certainly pretty good against this board. It holds them all. It holds the ground for a little while there.
Oh, definitely.
It's just that
Desperate Ritual,
Yeah.
costs 3 mana, makes 3 mana. James breaks even there. Seething Song, costs an extra mana.
oh jeez, we're working backwards. So he's now spent 4 mana and 2 cards to make 5 mana.
Yes.
3 spots remaining in the standard Winterbox.
There's five red and a blue in his pool.
So Aspen Flames. That's
So now
that
it
costs
goes 5.
So,
So
now
he's got a
has
red. He's got a red
red
left in
or a
his pool.
blue in the pool. Yeah.
We're adding stuff to our equipment,
Well, he can make a lot of goblins.
chairs, and a couch. It's like a snack.
Well, he only has 3 mana now.
So, which
And
Pyretic
full.
Rituals him,
Which,
or Desperate Rituals him.
yeah, which breaks him even at 3 mana. So he's still just got 3 mana pool, so he can't Seething Song now. He can Grape Shot, though.
If you'd like to come up and meet
Sure.
right next to the stage.
But the Grape Shot's not going to be good enough. I mean, it's too late.
Right.
Grape Shot puts him, Taxian Probe puts him at 1 mana now. 4 life, or 2 mana.
He's like, I just want to see what you got, really, at this point.
Yeah, I mean, it puts him at 2 mana, so he can't even Grape Shot now.
Correct.
Yeah, he only has 2 mana pool.
Wow, Thalia's looked very impressive.
Yeah, Thalia's doing some work here.
Yeah, and then that's a scoop.
Yeah.
Yeah, I tell you, I think if you're playing in a PTQ next week, you want to keep an eye out for Andrew Olschwager's deck. I think this is going to be a popular modern choice for a couple weeks here.
I think you're right.
Until it's, either foiled or proven to not be as good as we think it is. He's like, I'm up a game in my worst matchup. Pretty sweet.
Yeah. But he did say to me, he said that he doesn't want to play against Storm, that he thinks it's his worst matchup, but because he thought since he's tested it, because it was so bad, he put Thalia's in the deck.
Oh, really? That's in there against Storm?
And added extra discard spells to his sideboard. So when he was testing it, it was bad. He didn't have Thalia's and didn't have the extra discard spells in his sideboard.
Sure.
So this bad matchup may be a good matchup for him.
How do you categorize Andrew's deck? It's kind of like a good stuff deck. It's kind of like a white weenie deck,
but it has
it's
an
kind of like a martyr
too.
deck.
It has an inevitability. It has against the aggro decks, like you have an inevitability in the form of like martyr and things like that.
Deck?
Against control decks, like you have an inevitability in the form of necrotic sliver. Against control decks, you also just are like a confidant deck with like tons of like good removal spells. Against mid-range decks, you just crush them. You have more removal than them, more card draw than them.
I guess it's Black-White Callblade.
I mean, there are a lot of things you could change about this deck, too, if you want to.
Well, no, yeah, I agree. I think that what's interesting about this deck is how much room it has for making adjustments. Like you said, just look at the case where he's tuned his deck to up against his worst matchup.
Yeah, I mean, for example, like the Sword of Light and Shadow,
Sword of Feast and Famine seems like it would be great in this deck.
Yeah, Sword of Feast and Famine really, Sword of Feast and Famine works incredibly well with Lingering Souls. And he's also only playing 1 equipment main and a Steel Shaper skip from the main. Like, that could easily just be 2 equipment. Like, if he had 2 copies of the same equipment, it would just be flat out better, right? And there's so many things I love about this deck, and there are so many things I want to change about this deck.
Apparently, people are going crazy about this deck on Twitch TV. So
good.
I definitely think you're going to be seeing this deck.
I mean, they should be.
You're going to be seeing this deck at the PTQs for sure.
I kind of want to go PTQ next weekend. Tara's going to kill me.
Well, you just like this deck because it's got slivers.
I mean, what are you going to do to me? I'm shameless.
Yeah, no, I mean, you're the only person that likes slivers more than I do. I mean, I like slivers more than Chris Lockwood.
Sorry. 2 spots definitely in the booster
Fair
draft. 2 spots in our next
Chris is like, slivers are
standard
fine.
format.
Yeah.
Whatever.
That's kind of how he was the whole time. I was like in our second draft, I remember like first pick, there was like a Watcher sliver, and I was like, this one, and he's like, really? And I'm like, this one, come on, and he's like, alright, fine. Like every time we did it, he would like begrudgingly like.
He's like, fine, I will play Little Child Magic.
Fine, Jake. You want to play like a little child? Let's do this.
Nerdle Probe on Twitter was demanding more Black-White swag before this round.
I was also.
By the way, I think it should be swag, not swag. By the way,
Just fair enough.
just saying, little
Fair enough.
New
I
Yorkiness
approve.
on it. Yeah.
Sort of light and shadow being the swaggiest of all the swords.
Yeah. Little swag carpeting.
I mean, this is one of the things that I really love about, Magic tournaments in places where there aren't usually Magic tournaments.
Right.
Or even just like newcomers to the Pro Tour, when you see them with a strategy that just like, sometimes you have these independent groups of people who have ideas that are just completely foreign to the rest of the Magic world.
Yep.
That if it weren't for a Grand Prix coming in Nebraska, nobody would have ever known this deck existed. That Andrew OHLSCHWAGER and his group of friends came up with this awesome deck.
And not even his entire group of friends played it.
Yeah, most of his friends audible to mono red. That's the best part.
I love that part. So I don't know if Rich Hagon's listening at home in England, but we had a couple questions on Twitter, and it's very relevant considering Andrew's record at this point. Do we have an idea of how many players have won a Grand Prix without having any buys? So, for the Magic statistician, this might be a little project for him. See if he can figure out how many players have won a Grand Prix without any buys.
I can't recall
a
single one.
I mean, buys are pretty invisible generally too. So, like, if it happened, you might not be.
Yeah, it's hard to. Normally it's a big deal when somebody top 8s a Grand Prix without any buys.
Sure.
It's like written about to a certain degree.
Yeah.
I don't know. That'd be very interesting. I mean, here he is, 10-0, the only 10-0 with no buys.
Yeah.
At Grand Prix Washington D.C. last year, good friend of mine, Greg Scherzo.
Sure.
9-0'd with no buys.
Nice. Ran into a little trouble on day 2, did he?
Yes.
So I don't remember him top 8ing that event.
He did not top 8 that event.
We see Andrew, I think, going down to 5 here.
We have 4 spots remaining in a twisted draft. 4 spots in a twisted draft.
After the first 4 rounds of day 2, the first 4 rounds, that's a pretty big stretch, he came up to me and said that his day had been a sea of spreading seas, and he had been playing John, so...
Yeah.
Andrew mulliganing down to a pretty small hand here.
I think it was a 5-card hand.
Yeah. Going to keep. And this is the type of hand, though, that's, a pretty good 5-card hand. He has a discard spell, and then he has a Figure of Destiny. And Figure of Destiny is the type of card where you don't need other cards. Instead of, playing more threats,
sure,
you can just kind of dump mana into the Figure of Destiny.
So do we get a sense of how many, will you see if James, went deep into his sideboard? Do we think he's going for the transformative strategy here, or...?
I imagine he's definitely going to try to transform if he's playing against Thalia.
Right, he won't just have one, resolve one non-creature spell. So Gitaxian Probe looks at a hand and sees Figure of Destiny. That's
Inquisition of Kozilek?
I think so, and then
a Godless Shrine and Arid Mace Sen of Plains?
Yeah.
So Andrew probably going to lead with the... oh, interesting. Okay. I thought he'd play Figure first.
Yep.
Because if he plays Figure first, then he next turn can make it a 2/2, and then also play the Inquisition. And then he gets to look at an extra card from James' hand.
He's kind of a Noxious Revival, gifts, Desperate Ritual. So if he transformed, it's kind of a semi-transform. I feel like he didn't.
Yeah, I don't think he did.
Takes the ritual. It's,
Is that a mana leak? It is a mana leak. Right, so James draws a Mana Leak for turn 2. Ooh, and a
Plays a
Hawk.
Squadron Hawk. Nice top deck.
Yeah, pretty good one.
You have to Mana Leak that.
Yeah.
You've seen what happens if you let someone play a Squadron Hawk after a mulligan.
It's like they didn't
It's
ever
like they
mulligan.
never mulligan, yeah. I honestly might have just led with the figure there.
I leave with the figure too, yeah.
Okay, remand it. Let's do it again.
Alright. And the figure sticks.
Need 4 players.
And this figure's going to be attacking for 4 next turn.
3 players for a mini master.
And not the turn after that, but the turn after that. It's going to be attacking for 6.
That's a good clock, but James has his
Still have interest?
this is
in
gifts
the
online
giant
now.
draft, if anyone else would like to play in that kind of thing.
Wonder if Andrew brought in his even mind sensor.
I would imagine if you saw a Gifts Ungiven, you definitely
He
bring it
only
in.
has the
That's-
one, by the way.
Yeah. He told me that that's the one card he would change in his deck if he had to change one
He
card.
wouldn't play it, or he would play more.
He wouldn't play it.
Yeah, okay.
Which is surprising because it
Seemed
was awesome for him
seemed awesome to me.
when he played it against Jerry.
Just attacks her too. Plays a sword.
Sort of,
We need only one
what is
player.
that?
That looks like
Fire
Fire
Knight.
Winner
Yeah.
box. One spot remaining in the standard winner box tournament.
He's like, all right, gifts it up. What do you got? What'd you get me?
Ooh, let's see what he finds.
What'd you get you?
Presents. Gifts Ungiven is one of my favorite cards ever. So we did bring in the Splinter Twin combo.
He did, okay.
So I'm interested to see what combo James ends up dipping into here.
So is
Does he have enough
James.
rituals in his hands?
No,
Yeah, he may have enough rituals in his hand to just go for it right away, right?
I don't know that he does, because he didn't have any in his hand when we saw his hand on turn 1. We do know he has an option for that.
Exactly, but it's not going to be because they're playing.
You just ship him Mana Leak,
Grand Prix spectators.
Splinter Twin, right?
Just a reminder, please do not spectate in the aisles.
Should you just give him Mana Leak Gitaxian Probe?
That's fine. I just don't want to show him I have the path.
Oh, okay. I see what you're saying.
I like it. That's exactly how I would have split it. I agree. I mean, there are a lot of different splits, and you can make a lot of arguments for all the different
Sure.
splits there.
Spots remaining in a twisted
That's actually
draft.
like a really interesting gifts. But I mean, J-Way makes really strange plays a lot of the time.
Yeah.
But I mean, that's kind of the reason why he's like so, like, he wins a lot. Is because he makes these really unpredictable plays, and he's somebody who's like tight, who understands the game like on a pretty deep level, who
Right.
He's
not
willing
he's-
to make
he's
the
not,
weird play.
He's not randomly choosing stuff. He's doing stuff based on his own internal Magic philosophy and strategy.
which is very different from that of
And
the
there's a lot of
average
value to that.
dude. I agree.
I'm going to play Noxious Revival, targeting Splinter Twin.
So he's going to Noxious Revival's Deceiver Exarch back to his hand.
Or Deceiver Exarch, yeah. Back to the
And-
top of his library, draw it for his turn. So does that on upkeep.
And he passes.
Let's go.
Judge Rob, up to the event stage, please. Judge Rob to the event stage.
Do you equip here to sort of continue to look
Yeah, I think you equip.
vulnerable? Yep.
Pick 2. Cena plays Hall. See, I don't like leaving open all your mana when you had all the different stuff to do with your mana.
Right.
It says, like, I've got stuff.
Yeah.
All right,
I've got a rebuke.
Draft booster draft number 20.
What is Jay? But it's interesting because now James Zornes has to decide what he wants to do. Does he just want to gift here, take a whole other turn off from the combo, and like try to find some way to see what's going on? Like he doesn't trust. He'd like to have some situation where he ends up with a counter spell. Or something.
Yeah, like I like equipping the sword and attacking because then you like I feel like James just goes for it then.
Right, and you're putting a much more aggressive clock on him.
Yeah.
No, but he's just going to go for it anyway.
Yeah.
Okay, get that out of here.
I'm so greedy.
I totally
You
would have
would have
waited.
waited.
I would have waited even if I had equipped the sword. That's how greedy I am.
Well, you couldn't wait if you equipped the sword because he's going to tap your land. Oh no,
Yeah,
the sword's
but
only
you
two
still
to equip.
yeah.
Yeah.
You still
Right, I was thinking about that. Pumping up the. I mean, because he could also could have
That's
just.
why it's so sick, though, is because, like, to make that play, you have to be so greedy. And, like, they'll go for it every time. They always go for it. You always get them.
See, now he just I guess he just turns his figure into a 4/4 and then
Sure, smash his face.
yeah, hits him for 8 next turn. And I mean, it's pretty interesting here. If this sword sticks on this figure, Jayway has to win this next turn, or it's over.
Right.
Because the protection from red and blue is
Protection from your deck.
Shimmeries.
Yeah. But by the way, Blake Rasmussen tweeting on the Magic Pro Tour account. There are 14 different archetypes among the top 10 tables, 20 players right now.
awesome. Top 20 decks, 14 archetypes.
So goes to equip. He pestermites it in response.
He wouldn't have that Splinter Twin if he played greedy.
It's true. Plays Halimar Depths.
Yeah, James just wins if he goes for it.
Last few people for the beginning. I need 3 people for a mini master.
But maybe he doesn't.
3 people for a twisted draft, and only 1 person for a standard win box.
I also think if you give him, off the gifts, if you give him the Splinter Twin Mana Leak, I think you have to play greedy.
Sure. So he is. We know he's holding a mana leak.
Yeah, we know James has Mana Leak and Splinter Twin in hand.
All right, he's going to go for it here. Do you have another answer? Nope. Did not throw
And
another
they're on
card.
to game 3.
Pretty robust 5-card hand out of OHLSCHWAGER.
Oh, yeah. I mean, that hand certainly... But I think he could have played that game differently. I think he could have won that game with that 5-card hand.
So you think if he just equips the sword,
The turn before,
and
he also
attacks-
would have been multiple cards deeper into his library.
right. Right.
Multiple.
So you think that I pass the turn with 2 mana. You tap one of my lands. Like even if I equip the sword, you might just tap my Pester in response. I mean, tap my Figure of Destiny in response instead of tapping my lands. Pass the turn back to you. You have 4 lands.
You go Splinter Twin on my Deceiver Exarch. Because he would have gone for it. We just saw right there. He would have gone for it. Right? He went for it without his Mana Leak backup. You say he wouldn't have gone for it without his...
Interesting. I mean, it seems pretty pants down to go for it there, though. It seems like you'd be crazy to...
They always go for it. I play so greedy. It always works. You just gotta play greedy, people. Because, okay, like, I play a lot of combos.
Yeah.
And, like, I'm actually, like, so many people don't understand how people ever win with combo decks. And I can tell you, a lot of the times you win because you just go for it. You're just like, alright. He doesn't have it. Like, you look at them, and you're like, you try to get a read on him.
Yeah.
But, like, you know, you, like, convince yourself he doesn't have it, and then you, like, go through the motions to, like, find all of the specific tells that would mean he doesn't have it, ignore all the ones that mean he does, and then you go for it.
It's kind of interesting that OHLSCHWAGER left a path in when he was sideboarding.
Maybe he knows. I mean, think about it.
They've been playing next to each other, sure.
Yeah.
Sure, they're playing at the top tables, right next to each other. As the undefeated players grew smaller and smaller, you know who you're circling, right? When you're in the undefeated bracket.
And so also the people who are at the top of the standings right now are people like Yuza, people like Owen. So when you're at those super top tables, here's Jayway and Andrew, and they're definitely the dark horses.
Sure.
At these top tables.
Do you think they've maybe even formed a little bit of a bond, a bunker mentality?
I mean, there's definitely that sort of thing at high level events when there's kind of this like old boys club,
sure,
and you're the new guy. Like we've all been the new guy at the beginning.
I've never been the new guy. It's been
yeah, you've actually never been. You're the only one. Like I can relate to anybody with that except you.
Yeah, so they form that. They form like a bond by just virtue of
even if it's unspoken.
Yeah.
Like you're sitting next to a guy, and the people who are sitting around you are a player of the year, somebody with like well over 200 lifetime pro points.
Player of the year, player of the last 3 years.
Yeah. Yeah, I think if you do total pro points accrued over the last 3 years combined, Yusa might be in first.
No, it's got to be Luis. His median finish was 12th over a 3-year span.
At the PT?
Yeah, at the PT. His median finish from
God.
Berlin through whatever was like a full 3-year span from Berlin.
That is disgusting.
His finish was 12th.
I didn't know that. Oh my god.
Yeah, that's why
I actually feel sick to my stomach.
That's why he's banned.
Number 9.
All right, we're underway. We see an Inquisition of Kozilek
Gather beside the event
against James Zornes.
Looking for people who signed up for
You see,
standard number
So this
9.
is Serum Visions, a Taxian Probe, a Desperate Ritual, and a Remand. I plucked the Serum Visions. Snap. I mean, that hand does very little without that Serum Visions. James, pumping the legs, does not want him to take the Serum Visions. Yes. Like it.
you're not tempted to take one of those rituals out of there? And... No. Tapped land for Zornes. And Thalia. Nice remand.
Hello.
Hey.
Nice Taxian Probe, too. Yeah. There we go. Sorcery Peak, yeah. For many manas.
Oh, there it is. There's your baby.
Oh, it's so good.
There's a surgical extraction. So, Bashu.
And having a necrotic sliver just like sitting in play against.
Well, I mean, and just get it. I mean, even if you just get a land.
Yeah,
Like,
I mean, you've got
getting a
Thalia.
land under Thalia seems pretty insane. And you get like the sword, and you get it to come back, and
The Sword of Light and Shadow and necrotic sliver is actually just pretty fun.
yeah, it's a little pricey.
Yeah, I mean it's
It's every other turn.
you gotta work. You know, work hard for the money. This deck works hard for everything. That's another thing I like about this deck. Like this is not
Passes a turn with an Emiria.
this is not the sort of deck where it just kind of comes to
Once
you.
again, if you'd like to sign up for the 12 noon GP Columbus, GP Philadelphia Modern Challenge, we are taking signups for that event here at the event stage.
All right.
This event
James
will
down to 10
require
already.
a deck list. I'm still looking for 3
gotta
players
respect
for
the
a
possibility of
Master and 3 players for a Twisted
Deceiver
Draft.
Exarch here or something, right?
He has a path in hand.
Constructed winner boxes, Commander,
Right, but you don't want to tap down to, let's say,
Giant Draft,
3,
and
have your
regular
land
booster
get
draft.
Oh, I guess it doesn't matter if you capture land there. They'll just... Yeah, he's like, all right, I see no reason to...
He's like, I'm ahead.
So there's a Gifts Ungiven. That's 5 mana.
You know, and it's pretty hard to protect a Deceiver Exarch from a necrotic sliver.
That's true. So he's
You
got
can play
double...
so greedy.
Yeah,
with a
he's got
necrotic
double
sliver.
removals. And James is on 10. I meant 6.
And if you feel confident here, do you just play it? Oh, Thoughtseize, okay. Nice.
So he's floating mana through a Fetid Heath.
Oh no, he's not floating anything, it's just Thalia.
Oh,
Makes the
Thalia's,
Thoughtseize cost more.
that's right. Affects you too.
Yep. Double-edged sword. H gets remanded. That's completely reasonable. I think he knew he had the remand. I don't know if you go for that there.
Right, because now you need to leave extra mana open for your path and for your...
Yeah, I mean, it's like... If you're going to go for it, you go for it the turn before. That way you can do it 2 turns in a row. Because now you don't really have another opportunity to do it.
Right. James is on 5.
But,
Sword,
I mean...
sword kills him.
But I mean, it's pretty difficult for James to win at this point because he's going to have to win through Thoughtseize Path. And Surgical Extraction. James will go to 1 here.
Looking for 3 more players.
Try
for
this again.
Master, Twisted Draft,
Thoughtseize.
and Commander.
Signed by the artist.
3 seems to be the magic number.
See, gifts. 4 rituals. 2 desperate rituals and 2 seething songs. So he can get up to, essentially, struggle his way up to 6 mana.
Yeah, I mean, Andrew could take a Seething
4
Song,
players for a booster draft.
and
still
then
taking signups for the 12
I like
noon
waiting
challenge,
here for the end of turn
Modern
gifts,
Challenge.
and then seeing what James grabs, and then using the Surgical Extraction. Because he has the path in hand, so if you give him the
Well, again, he doesn't have mana to do both.
yeah.
He has needs to spend 1 mana on the surgical extraction and 2 mana on the path.
see. I think he's
He
grabbing
can't
an empty the Warrens.
He can't get the combo, right? He has to.
He has to go for an empty the Warrens here. It's the only way to win.
So you basically end up on 5 mana from your last Seething Song and make 8 or 9 guys. 8 guys. Probably.
Yeah, I mean, it's going to be really hard for him, though, because, like, if he gets the Seething Song in this package, Andrew can just ship him the Seething Song to his hand, and then just surgical him.
Yeah.
Okay, good. I think that's perfect mix. You definitely want the empty in the graveyard.
But he can still just get the Seething Song here. Knows he's going to get the other Seething Song in his hand. And then his Desperate Rituals cost 3 to make 3.
It's true.
So he can just, well, but he still gets to empty, he still gets to empty for 6 tokens.
Yeah, I think you definitely give him Probe, because Probe's awful right now.
Yep. You get Probe, Metamorphose.
Perfect, yeah, I like that a lot. Alright. Don't go for it, Andrew.
Like,
Draw a step, goes
yeah.
for it. Okay, that's fine.
It's like I'm going to surgically extract your...
What's he naming?
I assume he's going to name Seething Song, right?
That's what one would expect.
Or, I mean, I guess he could name Empty the Warrens and just remove his win condition. He does name Seething Song.
Okay.
And he gets the other Seething Song that's in hand. So we're left here with...
A hand that doesn't do much.
It doesn't do anything.
Yeah. Thalia.
Yeah.
Dark Ascension is here. I mean, Thalia is, featured in Owen's deck too as a 3-of, right?
Right. And there might even be a 4-of.
So, I mean, that card is in the 2 most successful creature-based decks in this tournament. Thalia is like a
2
linchpin.
players for a Twisted Draft. 2 players for the next Twisted Draft.
I think it's a good look at his opponent's library.
But you never know when you're at 5 to play against James again.
Or I guess now they've played against each other on day 2. They wouldn't have to play till the top 8, and then he gets to look at the deck list, so now or never.
Metamorphose is like 3 mana for 2 mana.
Yeah.
It's a negative ritual.
It is a negative ritual. Draws you a card, though. Alright. Metamorphose. Sure. Even if he rips Grape Shot here, I guess it's fine. But he has to spend his whole hand to Grave Shot away the 2 creatures, and then Andrew can just play a guy and kill him the next turn.
Yeah.
Alright. Set. Desperate Ritual. Yep. Desperate Ritual.
What is the mystery card?
Grand Prix competitors, that is the end of round
Oh man,
11.
James is making us sweat this one out, huh?
Complete 5 additional turns.
Probe you.
Probe
Again,
you.
that
Wait,
is
does he
the
have
end
blue
of
mana?
Round 11.
We can just... Oh, yeah.
He can't pay any life. He paid 2 mana for that probe, right?
I assume so. He has to.
Yeah. Yeah. Okay, yeah. Okay, you did.
Both times, both games that were won by 11-0 Andrew Olschwager, we saw Thalia. Thalia just
completely
shut that
dominated.
deck down. We saw Grafdigger's Cage just blow out the wheels on on a
Malara deck.
Malara deck, and now we see Thalia just blow